are carrying an astonishingly large surface inside of you. Not just large, but intricately, intelligently folded. Think about packing a parachute. You can't just stuff it in the bag. It must be folded in a precise sequence to ensure it deploys correctly. Your body faced a similar but far more complex packing problem. It needed to create a vast interface for gas exchange, an area where the outside world of air could meet the inside world of your blood. But this interface had to fit within the confined space of your chest. The solution wasn't simple folding like a map. It was to build a structure from the bottom up, using principles of fractal geometry. This begins at a nearly invisible scale with the fundamental unit of respiration, the alveolus. You have roughly 480 million of these alveoli. These tiny sacs are not perfect spheres. They are polyhedral, like the facets of a complex gem, packed together to maximize area while minimizing volume. This is the same geometric principle bees use to build honeycombs. It's a shape that offers the most storage for the least amount of building material, in this case, wax, or for you, biological tissue. The wall of a single alveolus, the barrier between the air you just breathed and the blood rushing past, is extraordinarily thin. At its narrowest point, the alveolar capillary membrane is less than 0.2 micrometers thick. A single red blood cell, which is about 7 micrometers wide, has to deform and squeeze through the capillary, its surface brushing right against this membrane. This intimacy is by design, minimizing the distance oxygen has to travel. But having millions of tiny, wet sacs creates a dangerous physical problem: surface tension. The thin layer of fluid lining your alveoli wants to contract, to pull the walls inward, just like the skin of a water droplet trying to become a perfect sphere. If this force were unchecked, your lungs would collapse with every exhalation, and it would take an immense effort to reopen them. To solve this, your body manufactures a remarkable substance called pulmonary surfactant. This is a complex mixture of lipids and proteins that acts as a detergent. It gets between the water molecules, breaking their attraction to each other and radically reducing surface tension. It's a bioengineered solution that ensures the 70 square meters of surface area inside you remains open and available for gas exchange with every single breath. Zooming out from the alveoli, we find the delivery system, the bronchial tree. Air doesn't just appear in the sacs, it's conducted there through a network of branching tubes. Your trachea splits into two primary bronchi, which split again and again and again for about 23 generations of branching. This is not a random structure. It's a fractal, and its design adheres to an elegant principle of fluid dynamics known as Murray's Law. This law dictates the optimal relationship between the diameter of a parent branch and its smaller daughter branches to minimize the energy required to move fluid, or in this case, air. The same mathematical principle that governs the branching of trees, river deltas, and blood vessels is what makes your breathing so effortlessly efficient. So, how do we arrive at that famous tennis court analogy? The number wasn't a guess. It was the life's work of anatomists like Ewald Weibel, who pioneered the field of stereology. You can't just unroll a lung and measure it. Instead, he used electron microscopes to take random samples of lung tissue. Then, using statistical methods, he would overlay grids of lines onto these images. By counting how many times the lines intersected with an alveolar surface, he could calculate the total surface area with remarkable accuracy. The result is a surface area of about 70 square meters, roughly the size of 1/2 of a singles tennis court. So the analogy is an exaggeration, but it captures the correct sense of scale. You have an internal surface designed for absorption that is many times greater than your external surface, your skin. This enormous area is not passive. It is actively managed. The entire system is engineered not just for size, but for efficiency, durability, and self-repair. Every minute, your lungs process more air than the volume of a large suitcase and facilitate the passage of your entire blood supply. The architecture is a solution to a fundamental problem of life: how to bring every single one of your trillions of cells into intimate contact with the outside world. The tennis court is a fun fact, but the true wonder is the multi-level engineering, from the molecular physics of surfactants to the fractal geometry of the airways, that makes that surface area not just exist, but work silently and perfectly with every breath you take.
Monotony has grown fast. Nearly 2,700 people have watched in the last few weeks, yet less than 0.03% are subscribed. It would mean a lot if you joined by hitting subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.